Fire in the pit barrel hole. Let's cook some pork. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome once again to my backyard grill. What we're cooking for you today is an Italian dish. My buddy John asked me to make something Italian. You know John. John is Rivet Gardener. Go up in the iCard, check out John, subscribe to his channel. He's an amazing guy, amazing cook. He knows a lot about food history and all kinds of crap. You got to check him out. Check out John, my buddy John. He says make something Italian, so I said, well, I will. What I got here is a pork shoulder that I cut up into these rather large chunks like this. Took out the bone, took out all the hard fat. What we got to do now is marinate this. So I got to get this put aside here and get my bowl. Let me get this put aside. Get my bowl for the marinade. This is pork agrodolce. Agrodolce means sweet and sour. This is about as close to, get out of there, sesame seed left over. Anyway, this is about as close as Italians get to sweet and sour. And this is like a little known Italian dish. I hope you like this one. It's got a lot of weird stuff in it. The first thing is we got some capers. Now capers are a berry that grows on a tree. We're going to put some capers in there. About that much of capers. Just going to mash them up a little bit with my fork. Because this is the marinade for the meat. You might not even, I don't know, how much capers you're going to be able to taste in this dish. I don't know, but I put a little bit in there. Yeah, capers. Capers are good. I like to taste the capers. And here's another ingredient that you might not like. We got some anchovies. Now the recipe calls for 2 or 3 anchovies. I'm really thinking about dumping this whole thing in there, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna put about half of this container of anchovies in there. You know what? I'm gonna dump the whole thing. You know why? Because I like anchovies. If you don't like anchovies, I'm gonna mash them up with a fork. If you don't like anchovies, you can leave them out. I don't think it'll make that big of a difference, but I love the flavor and taste of anchovies. A salty, fishy flavor, and it's kind of like the Chinese equivalent would be fish sauce. You know, fish sauce has anchovies in it. Anyway, we got some anchovies in there and some capers. We're gonna mash that up. We got the oil in there that the anchovies were packed in. Now what do we need next? Now we need a cup of balsamic vinegar. And we got to talk about balsamic vinegar. If it doesn't say vinegar of Modena on it, it's not real balsamic vinegar. And now I got to get this open, and my hands are all covered in oil from the anchovies. So let me see if I can get this open without too much trouble. I got it open. Okay. We need a cup of balsamic vinegar. And of course it's got a restrictor on it, so I can't pour it fast. A cup of balsamic vinegar. Almost there. Nearly there. Okay, got it. Got a cup of balsamic vinegar in my marinade. Then we need a cup of white vinegar. Just regular old white vinegar. That's the sour portion of the sweet and sour. I hope this thing doesn't have, it does. Oh gosh, I hate these. You know, when you're an old person, these things are a killer for you. Get them out of there. Us old people struggle with stuff like this. Okay, a cup of white vinegar. Cup of white vinegar. There we go. Alright, our marinade is coming together. We need some salt and pepper. Got some sea salt. Say about a tablespoon of each. Sea salt and black pepper. Yeah, it's got a lot of ingredients, but I think it's worth it in the end. A tablespoon of black pepper in there. And we need some honey. Honey is the sweet part of this marinade. So we need about a cup of honey. I'm not going to measure it because I'd have to pour it into the cup and then clean out the cup. I'm just going to guess at it. I'm guessing that's about a cup of honey. Get that in there. Gonna mix up our ingredients some. Oh man, that smells so good already. You can't imagine. Capers, anchovies, honey. Oh boy, balsamic vinegar smells great. Okay, now I got some onions over here. I got some red onion sliced up and some garlic. And John, I want you to see that that's real garlic, not that cheater's garlic. We're gonna get that in there. A whole sliced up red onion and 6 cloves of garlic. Then I've got some crushed red pepper. This is an Italian dish. Gonna put a little bit of heat to that. About a tablespoon of crushed red pepper. Running out of space here. Crushed red pepper. Then we need a couple of teaspoons of tomato paste. It wouldn't be Italian without some tomato paste in it, would it? So let's put about 2 teaspoons of tomato paste in there. Get that stirred up. I'll stir it up with the spoon that I took the tomato paste out with. That'll clean the spoon off. Yeah, it's coming along now, baby. This is gonna be good. This is a marinade, but it's also the braising liquid. We're gonna braise this pork shoulder in this liquid. And we've got some herbs we gotta put in there. We've got some oregano, basil, and rosemary that we're gonna put in there. About, I don't know, a couple of tablespoons of each of those Italian herbs. Basil, rosemary, and oregano. In Australia they call oregano oregano. I don't know why they do, but they do. And that's the marinade for the pork. Now what we got to do now is get the pork in there and get it all mixed up good. Get it all mixed up good in that marinade, these chunks of pork. There's no quick way to do this. I just got to drop them in there. I got to take my hands and mush this all together so it'll all get covered on that pork. And that's the braising liquid and also the marinade for the pork. So let me get that all in there. That's a whole pork shoulder that I cut up. Took the bone out of it. Cut out all the hard fat and skin of the pork. Some more pork in there. You got that honey. You got 2 kinds of vinegar and honey, and all those other herbs and spices that are in there. We're going to get that all mixed up really good. Get that covered up. I'm going to put that in the fridge and marinate it overnight. And tomorrow, we're going to crank up the pit barrel and come back and we're going to braise this. And what we just used for the marinade is going to be our braising liquid, but if we need more liquid, we can add some red wine to that. But anyway, let me get that all submerged in that marinade. Doesn't that look good already? It already looks good. Look at that garlic. Look at all that stuff there. Oh man. Okay, let's get that marinated and then we'll get it on the grill. Okay? Stay tuned. My well marinated pork is in a pan. We're going to put this in a pit barrel. Cook it for about anywhere from 2 to 4 hours until that pork gets tender. And then we'll serve this stuff up. We're going to drink a beer and take a taste, so stay tuned. We're about 3 hours into this. My pork agrodolce is looking good. Checking the temp on that. We're only at a 140, so we got to come up a little bit further. I'm going to get it to at least 160 or higher if I can. If I can last that long. Anyway, we're getting ready to spoon some up and give it a taste, so stay tuned. My pork agrodolce is done. Got some mashed potatoes in my plate. I'm going to put some mozzarella cheese on the mashed potatoes. I'm going to spoon out some of that pork to put on top of that. That pork is fork tender, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what. And that sauce that it's in is amazing. Get some of that pork agrodolce in my plate. Gonna put a little bit more mozzarella on top. Get that all melty. Garnish it with a little bit of parsley. Italian flat leaf parsley. How about that? Let me just wipe off the edges of my plate right here. Make it look like something. How does that look? Does that look like something you'd want to eat? Let me tell you what. Let me get a beer and we'll take a taste of this. Stay tuned. My pork agrodolce is done. Here's the frosty root boy mug, star of the show. Here's today's beer. Let's back out of that a little bit so you can see what's going on. Birra Italiana. Birra Italia. Since 1906 from Milano. I don't know too much about this beer. It's an Italian beer which I picked out especially for this video. So let's pop off the top of it up. This is not a common beer that you're going to see anywhere. Birra Italiana. It's already foaming up. Birra Italiana. Very strange beer. Ah, looks good though. Looks good. Got a light lacy head. Full body to it. Let's take a sniff of it, Rob. What do you think? Smells great. Smells great. I don't know if it's an ale or a lager. I'm guessing it's a lager. Premium Italian beer is all it says. All we can do is quaff the froth of it, right, Rob? Excellent. It's very refreshing. Let's get some of this pork agrodolce in my mouth. That's all I care about. I want some of this fork tender pork and some mashed potatoes with all that melty, I love it when it does that, melty mozzarella cheese on there. I can't wait to taste this. That's excellent. Let me tell you what, that sauce that it's in is amazing. Like I said, it's fork tender pork. Just delicious. That cheese on there. That's the icing on the cake, ladies and gentlemen. The icing on the cake right there. What do you think of that, John? Wow, that's good. That's the best. Let me tell you what. Awesome braised pork. I'm loving it. The sauce. Excuse me. The sauce is delicious. You know, it's not sweet and sour the way you think of it in the Chinese sense. It's more of an Italian sweet and sour. Anyway, babies, that's my video. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing. Go on the iCard and check out my buddy John, Rivet Gardener. You won't be sorry. Come back next week. We may not cook anything good, but we will drink a beer. Bye.